What is up, guys? Tyler here with the Kingdoms Trading Card Game. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is going to be a commentary on some gameplay, and so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. So in this gameplay video, it is going to be a gameplay between myself and my friend Joe. I am playing with a Furbish Estercrest build, a Furbish Cludés build, and he is playing with a Silvermoore Estercrest build. Now, I've been able to spend a little bit more time working on my deck. The deck that I have built, I really have chose with the purpose of wanting to win. I've tried to get rid of the cards that I don't think that are good. And so the deck that I played with, I really feel like is operating at the best it can operate at. Now for Joe, I know he recently combined his two kingdoms, and we kind of discovered that Silvermoore and Estercrest really struggle to be put together. They just, because a lot of their cards are so specific as to what their effects and abilities can actually do that, it's hard for them to work really well together. Or at least, unlike Linford and Winterton, and unlike Furbish and Cludés, which can combine easily, or at least have a lot of different combinations that they can pull off, Silvermoore and Estercrest are very limited to what they can do. So anyways, for this match, we're rolling to see who can go first. I do win, and I do have Joe go first. So I let Joe pick my first sacred, and then Joe had me pick his third sacred. So Joe is opening up with the Eastern Vantage Point, and then I am opening up with a Central Palace. Both of these sacreds are from the set 2 new designs. I like Central Palace because I'm able to draw cards. I know some people don't like it though, because I like the 2-card draw effect that it gives you, but you allow your opponent to draw a card as well. So some people would say maybe it's not the best thing to do, but I think if you are capitalizing enough on that card draw, then I think it makes it worth it. So I think that's fine. So Joe's going to open up with a turn 1 Moor Craftsman and let's see, Estercrest Soldier. And with that Moor Craftsman, he is going to give his Estercrest Soldier a boost in stats. I believe it's he's going to give him plus 100, plus 200, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to lay down a Master's Table, going to lay down a Secret. I'm going to send a Converter to the graveyard. So I already like my position pretty well. I got a Secret, so I could certainly mess with him if I wanted to. But he does have that Estercrest Soldier out that has got that buff. But I figured because Central Palace already has 1700 health, I can last a couple turns. So being able to set that token down, I'm setting myself up for a better turn. Now, Eastern Vantage Point is perfect for any Tanis player because Tanis Kingdoms really struggle at moving fast through their decks. So if he has a card that allows him to just look at the top card of his fortress, put it at the bottom if he wants, then that works out really well for him. He does not do anything. I do the Central Palace effect. So I draw 2 cards, giving him the chance to draw a card. I lay a Secret down. And it looks like I laid down Temple Teacher. So sorry you guys can't see that with the glare. But I did lay down Temple Teacher. And that's a pretty good card. I'm running it in this deck just to see how well it is going to run. I kind of lean towards Outpost Tower a little bit more because I'm able to look at 2 cards rather than 1. So I kind of like that a little bit better, but we'll see how it is. Wow. Okay, so Joe is going to put in power on his Estercrest Soldier, just making him even more powerful. Now I do have 9 Magicka, and so I am going to play a Hush of Furbish, which is going to allow me to take that card and just put it right onto my Temple Teacher if I want to. Hush of Furbish is a pretty good card. It's a little expensive, but being able to take someone's card that they have played and use it on my own cards, that makes it pretty good. Now it does cost a lot, but I think it works out. Of course, you could get unlucky if the card that's played isn't applicable to the cards that you have. So spending the Magicka that I spent, it only left me with 1 Magicka left, so I can't really do anything. A lot of the cards I have in my hand are very expensive, so I can't quite do anything. So I trade my Temple Teacher with his Estercrest Soldier. We both had the same amount of attack, and his Estercrest Soldier had defensive, so I needed to get rid of that as soon as I could. So Joe does do the Eastern Vantage Point. He decides to put that card at the bottom of his fortress. And seeing as what he can get. The thing that's difficult, and one thing that I'm realizing in the Kingdoms game, is there definitely is a strategy in trying to lock your opponent in that first Sacred phase, especially if they have no other cards that they can play. So it's just kind of interesting to see. But I'm really liking where my board state is at. I have a secret. I got 9 Magicka that I'm working with. Still in Sacred Phase 1, but I have some good cards in my hand, some cards that can give me some further advantage. I have a council board member in there, but I don't really want to do anything with it quite yet, just because I'm only in Sacred Phase 1. So if I get a card, there's a high chance that I'm not going to be able to play it, and I'd hate to waste that opportunity. Now Joe has some great cards in his hand. That's the thing, is Tanis Kingdoms have some really powerful cards, but they can be a little expensive. They can be a little difficult to play. So he's having to slim down his hand. He does get rid of a Restore. He was going to try to use that on his Legend. Unfortunately, not able to do that. I draw a 2 Neep. I lay the 2 Neep, and I'm able to draw 2 cards off of that. So just giving me the card advantage that I need. Unfortunately, though, I don't really have anything except that 4 token. So I do have that 4 token. So again, I'm just building up that value. I do send a Temple Judge to the graveyard, which no big deal. I'm running a couple copies of him, so that'll be fine. I do lay down a Nomadic Soldier. So right now I'm sitting at a really good point, a really good position, because now I'm working with a base of 13 Magicka. And actually I misplayed there. So off of the 4, I was supposed to send 2 cards from the top of my fortress to the graveyard, not a card from my hand. So that Temple Judge stays in my hand. But anyways, I'm sitting at a really good board state because I got 13 Magicka to work with, and now I just lay down a Nomadic Soldier. So now I'm sitting at 14 Magicka, and I got a pretty good battle card on the field. So Joe does lay down a Pure Water. In the Set 2 tournament, he used this token, Pure Water. That was his main token, and Pure Water gives you 2 Magicka, and then it allows you to draw 3 cards, and then you get to keep 2 of them, and then the other 2 go back into that. I'm sorry, the 2 that you don't want have to get discarded. So that is a downside to it, but it allows you to kind of do a some sort of a card draw, which is good for him. See, the thing is you start to run into a predicament of when do you play your tokens. You know, there's been plenty of gameplay videos where we've seen that there definitely is a proper moment for when you should and should not play your tokens. And so I think for right now where he's at, this is a good position too. His hand is loaded with Phase 2 cards. He still has plenty of health on his first Sacred. Actually, neither of us have swung at each other's Sacreds yet. We're both sitting at, he's sitting at 14, I'm at 17. So really he's got all the time in the world to do whatever he wants to do, but right now he has the tough decision on what cards does he get rid of. He's got some incredible cards in his hand. He's got the Tumble Gates. I see, I've never played against those yet, so I'd be curious to see how that card performs, but he's got that Long Swordsman. He doesn't want to get rid of that, that's for sure. He does get rid of a Frontline Warrior and a Divine Wisdom. Actually, a misplay on his part. He could have laid down that Divine Wisdom as a secret and therefore not having him to get rid of that. So that's unfortunate right there. So now I'm at 13 Magicka, but I have no cards that I can play, unfortunately. I have I have the Temple Teacher in my graveyard, but I don't know if I want to bring that out. I got that Summoner's Call. I could bring out my Legend if I wanted to. Okay, so I do a Summoner's Call for Temple Teacher, which will allow me to draw a card. And so actually, instead of drawing the card, I'm going to use the secondary effect to give Nomadic Soldier plus 100. So I swing in for a total of 7, therefore bringing down Easter Vantage Point to a total of 700 health. So I'm sitting in a really good position. I got a 400, 300 card on the field. Got plenty of Magicka and doing good. Man, so he just had to send that Tumble Gates to his graveyard. Tumble Gates, I'll put it up on the screen, hopefully. My hope when I'm recording this video is that I can do a couple visual things for you guys to make these videos a little bit more fun to watch. But Tumble Gates is a set 2 card meant for Estercrest, and I just haven't seen it perform yet, but I definitely think it could be a solid card. Just so much health on that thing. Really stinks that he can't play any cards right now. And again, that's kind of the problem that sometimes people face, is if they don't front load their deck enough, then they're kind of limited as to what they can do on their moves. Of course, you know, as you're playing someone, if you get them into the next phase, and you're giving them the chance to play you know, some new and better cards. So he does play Charlotte, and then with Charlotte's effect or her ability, that's going to have no effect because he has no cards on the field, but he will give himself additional Magicka for next turn. So I take my turn. I don't do the special draw. And again, I'm sitting with plenty of Magicka. I could play Lawful Knight, but it looks like I don't want to do that. Okay, so I end up discarding my council board member, and then I end up swinging in for a total of 700, totally killing his Sacred. And so now Joe goes into his Sacred Phase 2, Tanis's Dwelling Place. Now Tanis's Dwelling Place, I believe, has 1500 health. If you guys saw how I was recording this video, you'd be laughing at me. I'm totally nerding out right now, but I'm loving every second of it. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, though, but as a Tanis player, Tanis' Dwelling Place, probably the best Sacred that you could have. You can make the argument for, I believe it's the Sword of Tanis, which is a Sacred for Silvermoore, but because the health is so low, you can't really beat Tanis' Dwelling Place. So Joe is sitting at 7 Magicka right now, but Tanis' Dwelling Place is making cards cost less. Okay, so he just played a Long Swordsman, and then he played a Mountain Yeti. Now, Long Swordsman makes cards cost 4 less, and he had to discard a card, so Joe unfortunately had to discard his Ula card, which that's pretty big. Ula is definitely meta, so to have to send it to the graveyard stinks a lot. Now, if it was a Time Scribe, then it'd be totally different, but having to send Ula, that stinks. So he does decide to just swing in with the 2 cards that he has and kill my 2 battle cards that I have on the field. Good move for him, clear out and kind of open up the field for him. So I do the effect for the Central Palace. I draw 2 cards, letting Joe draw a card. So it's kind of working against him, but now that he's in phase 2, he can do whatever he wants. But allowing him to draw all those cards, you know, if he wasn't able to play him, I could actually make him run out of cards. But he's running a 60 card deck, so that's going to be pretty hard to do. And I don't have enough space in my deck to do that. I'm running a 40 card deck, and I have quite a few cards that help me dig into my fortress, so I can't afford that. So I have too many cards in my hand, so I send 2 cards to the graveyard. I decide to not play anything. I'm figuring that I'm maybe in a better spot to just wait till phase 2 and just fully dive in and go in swinging. So Joe's going to take his draw, and let's see what he's going to do. He's got a good board state. He's got that in power, which that could certainly do some things. Unfortunately, he has that Zima the Jouster, but that's a phase 3. So he can't really do anything there, but I mean, he's sitting in a good position because he has Tanis. If he didn't have Tanis' Dwelling Place out right now as a Sacred, I would say he wasn't in as good of a position. I think he's definitely on the back foot right now, but he has 2 solid cards out right now, so definitely I need to do something to respond. But this is kind of the difficulty in, you know, getting your opponent to their next phase. If they've been able to build up their hand, you know they're going to have an answer once you take them to their next Sacred. Okay, so he actually ends up swinging in to kill my Sacred completely. So I missed an attack earlier, so sorry about that. But anyways, so now he's gonna send me to the library, which I chose as my second sacred. The library has 1300 health, and it is crazy good. This is actually my first time using it, and during this match, I actually was a little overwhelmed with how to respond to all the cards. There was a lot of things going on, but I'm sure once I get used to it, I'll understand it more. And Joe was able to swing in with so much attack because Mountain Yeti already has so much attack, but then the Empower put it up at 8, and the Long Swordsman has 400, I believe, 400 attack. And so he was able to deal in enough of what he wanted. Okay, so I bring out 3 copies of Resource Manager. Now, I was only able to get to that because I used the Central Palace quite a bit, so I was able to build up my hand. And then using the library, I've done a lot of digging into my deck at this point, especially with that spell, the Spirit Tunip as well. So I've been able to do quite a bit. Resource Manager, probably a card that's going to get, limited maybe, but it sets me up perfectly. Now all my cards cost so much cheaper, and I have so much Magicka. I basically can do whatever I want, and so it sets me up pretty well. I'm going to lay down another secret spell, and that was a Divine Wisdom, so I can do whatever I want. I do lay down a Ula, and so Joe has to take his 3 cards that he's called to the field and puts them back into his hand. So I got 5 Magicka left, and the question is, what do I play? So I do a Plumella. I do Impact 4 to draw a card, just to get some more cards in my hand. Now the thing is the way the library works is because I don't have to start discarding cards till I get down to 4, I can kind of be in this weird purgatory state of where I'm drawing cards, but I'm not getting punished for drawing cards yet. So obviously the only reason why library would maybe backfire is if you did not draw any draw cards from that 10 draw. So Joe does have 7 Magicka, but now the question is what does he do? Thankfully, Ula goes right to the graveyard, and he's not going to try to send it back, so that way, so the cards get sent right back, but we will see. He does bring out a Mountain Yeti and an Estercrest Soldier. Both of those cards cost, at least his Estercrest Soldier will cost less. So he does kill a Resource Manager, and then with his Mountain Yeti, he does kill my Ula the Rebel. So I'm okay to let him do that, and so now it's a matter of figuring out what I'm going to do. Neither of us have touched each other's sacreds yet, so I'm still sitting at 13 and he's sitting at 15. But with him getting out defensive cards, it's really hard for me to get past it. And I don't want to let him keep out, powerful cards, especially like Mountain Yeti, because that makes it a little difficult. So I play a Lawful Knight, and I have enough Magicka to do that without having any consequences. And then I play a Converter as well. Now I kind of misplayed this. I could have used Converter to my advantage, but it would make it where I could essentially just kill free kill one of the cards that he was going to play. But I already have enough firepower, so I just decided to get rid of it. Because what I had noticed was when I had played a Converter, I had chosen Mountain Yeti, but Mountain Yeti has 600 attack, and so obviously Joe's first decision would be to swing in with his Mountain Yeti and totally kill my Lawful Knight. Okay, so because of Tannis' Dwelling Place, my attack was lower, so I could not train with my Converter at the Soldier. So unfortunately, I had to waste that precious attack that I had from Lawful Knight and waste it on 2 cards, and I only dealt 200 damage to him, bringing him down 13. So now I'm in my recoup phase, so I decided to play Successful Hunt because I have enough Magicka to do so. And I laid down my cards so Joe could see how many cards I had in my hand, so I wasn't lying. So I'm just drawing more and more cards. Clearly it's not fair. At least it doesn't seem like it's fair. You know, I think you could make the case. Maybe if Joe had a slightly better build, if there was time to work on the deck, you know, I'd be curious to see. Of course, we haven't seen this deck perform against a Borum, you know, a Borum build, so I'd be curious to see what that looks like. So I'm sitting in a really good position, still at full health, got all the cards that I need, got basically any answer to any problem in my hand, so I'm doing pretty good. So Joe brings out a Mountain Yeti, and he does kill my Lawful Knight, which I let him do because there's no way for me to stop it, which good for him. That's a good position for him to be in. Now basically Converter is just kind of a dud now at this point. Resource Manager though is still doing work for me. Okay, so I decided to spend 6 Magicka on Southern Signal and kind of replace what I have so far. Why I'm doing this is because I want to give myself more momentum when it comes to laying down battle cards on the field. And precisely what I do is I lay down a Temple Field Judge, which earlier in the match I had to send one to the graveyard. So I'm able to bring out the other one for free. So now I'm recurring value from cards I'm sending from the graveyard because of Southern Signal. And what I'm doing is I'm really utilizing that negative 100/100 effect that Temple Judge has by making cards so much weaker. Okay, so I swing in with a total of 1200, which is enough to kill his Sacred. So for some reason my math is not adding up at the moment, but I am able to kill his Sacred and yeah, go from there. So now that's going to send him to phase 3, which he does reveal a cattle farm. Cattle farm gives you Magicka. You know, so I've seen some people like it, some people use it. I don't know how good it is, but I think maybe one thing that helps make it relatively good is the fact that it does have 1700 health. If it didn't have 1700 health, then maybe it wouldn't actually be utilized, but I think that 1700 health is kind of palatable for some people. It makes it worth people's while for running as one of their Sacreds. Now that was actually the Sacred I chose for Joe. I think my other option I had was Library. I certainly wasn't going to give him that because I don't want him to dig into his deck. But still can be decent. Now I could send, if I really wanted to pin him in a bad position, I could send 2 cards from my graveyard, or from my hand, to the graveyard to cancel the Magicka that he has. So actually I do decide to do that. One thing I kind of struggle with, depending on who I'm playing, I don't like doing cheeky stuff sometimes. I like having fun with the match. I don't like it to be totally just oppressive from one person onto the other. But I was really just wanting to see how good this deck was. So I do send a Time Scribe to the graveyard from my hand to make it where he doesn't get that cattle farm effect, or that cattle farm ability I should say, which stinks. He's got a Ymir in his hand, but he just doesn't have enough Magicka. He also has a Zima the Jouster, and if he was able to get those cards out, it would totally change the game. Of course, what makes it difficult though, is though the fact that I got both of those Temple Judges. Because I have 2 Temple Judges, it's making minus 100/100. So Joe actually has a really good move. Using that Rock Mover takes a card that you have laid, and he gets to choose, and I have to put it back in my hand. So that's amazing for him. Now, unfortunately, too bad he doesn't have enough Magicka to just lay down another card, you know, which could kill at least one of the Temple Judges, because once I get that second one out, it's just going to be 2 ways to bring stuff down. He does trade with my Resource Manager, and so that gets rid of those 2 cards. So a little worried at this point. In this match, I became a little concerned with maybe Southern Signal isn't the best because it doesn't give you Magicka, but because I have the 4 token Resource Manager, makes it okay. I do play a Judge Guard. I like Judge Guard. It's a set 2 Furbish card. Might be a little expensive on the front end, but the fact that it makes cards cheaper, I think, makes it pretty good. So I do play a Furbish Counselor. I love this card. You know, I don't know how good it is compared to other things, but I really do enjoy it. With with Prison Guard, I do silence Mountain Yeti. So again, I'm sitting in a pretty good position. Unless Joe is able to get a token out sometime, it looks like it's going to be in the bag for me. So adding up my attack now, I swing in for a total of 1,300, and that puts him down at 400. So Joe really needs to do something here if he wants to be able to capitalize on this match. I don't think he's going to have enough, though, unfortunately, unless he had some type of board wipe, but unfortunately, Tannis Kingdoms do not have a card like that. Still got plenty of cards in my hand, so if Joe is able to do anything, I would have a proper response to anything. And I got those 2 secrets on the field as well, really setting me up for anything that I need to do. See, Joe's got a long swordsman, he's got an outpost tower, so he could do a couple things. I think he's trying to just weigh out his decisions. I did not send cards to the graveyard, so he does have that 2 from the cattle farm, so that would give, that maybe opens up the door for him to possibly have an answer, but really not sure. At least there's only one temple judge out on the field, so that might work to his advantage. He could get out a Ymir or Ula, or not Ula, a Zima, and possibly kill temple judge, but I just don't know. So playing long swordsman, gets to play Mountain Yeti for pretty cheap, and then he sends outpost tower to the graveyard. And I think that's going to probably be the game at that point. And just kind of making sure that the math is all right. And probably going to be the game right there. I mean, Joe does swing in with Mountain Yeti to kill the Judge Guard. He does kill the Resource Manager with Long Swordsman. But unfortunately, Joe is just not going to be able to do anything. So that is the game, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please tell me what you thought of this gameplay video. If you like the commentary, I'm hoping that if all the editing works out, that I'm able to maybe throw up some card images for you guys. So please tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about the build that I had, or maybe some ideas that you have for a proper Tannis build that could work together really well. And I do want to end this video by saying 2 things. One, in regards to Kingdoms, please check out the Facebook, the Instagram, and the Wix website to get different information and just get the inside scoop on different things going on with the Kingdoms trading card game. And lastly, I do want to say, though it might not be the flavor for some of you guys, I do believe in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. And one thing I do want to use this card game as is an opportunity to share the good news of Jesus Christ with you. So if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, I believe that God has made every person in the image of himself, and he wants everyone to have a relationship with him. And I believe that God wants to have a relationship with you, a daily relationship, and I promise you it will change your life. Doesn't mean every day will be good, but it means that you'll be able to get through every day. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do so that way you can stay in touch and stay tuned for next week's video. Thanks.